Okay, I'm starting this a little bit early in hopes that by the time the stream is scheduled to go live, we'll have all the little bugs worked out. Thank you, Collins, for being here as early as you are. I definitely appreciate that. I'm kind of monitoring everything over here. It looks like I've got audio. It looks like I'm broadcasting to both YouTube and Twitch. I think everything is okay. I think everything is good so far. If you guys can let me know if you can hear me or not, that would be awesome. Without a producer here locally, it makes it a little difficult for some of the things that I need to do for my different checks. Yeah, if you guys can let me know if my audio is good or not. Again, it looks good on my end, but I have no way of knowing outside of that. I'll hop on a flight, be right there, and produce a rate. Looks and sounds good. Okay, cool. That is what I was hoping for. Thank you for that. Appreciate that very much. Man, let's see. Make sure. I think that's all fine. Well, cool then. Skynet is here. Says nice. I can catch the live stream today. Good afternoon. Well, thank you so much for joining. Appreciate you being here as well. I got so familiar, so used to looking over here for the last couple of weeks because of nonsense. I forgot that I actually have my ground control app up here, so I can look at you guys while I'm reading the comments. Everything, it looks like both platforms are showing up in my screen up here. So super happy about that. Now that this should make things a little easier anyway. Alexia says good evening from the Netherlands. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you being here so regularly. There's so many of you who are, and I really dig that. Oh man. So it's been a bit of an interesting week. We're going to talk about a couple of Docker containers, but before we do that, I just want to kind of get you guys caught up. Last just OJ. Our last live stream was kind of a mess because the mini PC that I had in here just crapped out on me. Did some testing. We think it's a short in the board. Anyway, Minisform is going to take care of it. They're going to send me a new one, and then possibly ask me to send this one back so that they can do some testing. It appears there's a short somewhere in there that's tripping up the whole system. So I don't know, but they're going to take care of it, so that'll be nice. Also, since, let's see, I think last week I had mentioned that I had seen a couple of new people with regards to my brain and my new ADHD diagnosis and that sort of thing. They've got me on two different things to help with my brain. One of them I've been on for, I think today's day 9, and it's going pretty well. And the other one, like the first one I've been on the longest, is kind of just a mood stabilizer kind of thing. I don't remember what it's called, but that's been going pretty well. And then I'm on something else that's more of a nighttime ADHD med that also helps with blood pressure, so kind of a double win for me. And the one I take at night, man, it rocks my world. Like I said, I've only been on it a few days, but like about 45 minutes after I take it, man, I can barely keep my eyes open. It's just, it's not bad. It doesn't give me a bad feeling or anything. It just really knocks me down, which I'm still adjusting to. So that's kind of, I think, the newest updates on everything on my end. Working on a couple of videos, and actually working with some developers to make some guest appearances in these videos. So I'm super excited about that. Really excited to actually be able to start including the developers in my videos. I'm excited. I think that'll be a lot of fun, and I think add some of the human element back to the application. Not just thinking, oh well, it's Facebook's got 10,000 developers, so why doesn't this locally hosted small app, why don't they have this? So just trying to add some human element back into the videos, and when we're talking about the containers and that sort of thing. That's not going to be the case for this live stream, I will say that. Last few weeks I've had a chance to reach out to the developers for the live streams that we're going to talk about, but both of these we're going to take a look at two containers today. One of them is still very, very, very early in development, based on the current functionality that's available. The other one, I don't know if it's a little further along or not, but they're both fairly basic, kind of simple as they currently stand. And I felt if we just did one, it'd be like a 45-minute live stream. And I was like, well, let's hang out a little longer than that. So again, we're going to take a look at two of them in this live stream. So let's see. CyberSater says AODB Tech recently getting into containers and finally saw the new TrueNAS skills allows Docker Compose. Had a lot of your vids playlisted for the day. Thanks for the helpful content. Well, thank you for checking it out. Definitely appreciate that. There's going to be, I think I'm going to start going through certain containers and possibly making new versions of that, of those videos. Like I'm actively working on Pangolin. I'm actively working on that as kind of a redo, just because so many different things have been added to Pangolin since I made the first rounds of videos about it months ago. So kind of excited about that. But hopefully I'll be remaking some other videos as well, just because some of them really, really need it. So yeah, but anyway, thank you. Appreciate it. Man, we've got Jorg and Lucas. Oops, I think Jorg and Lucas. Hello to both of you. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you stopping by. I will say these are new names for me, so I always appreciate seeing new people in the chat. I always really, really dig that. If you guys are new here and you haven't subscribed, that would be awesome if you wanted to do that. Easiest way to help the channel. And if at any point during the live stream you enjoy what you see, definitely feel free to give the live stream a like. That's also super helpful. Thomas W., thanks for joining. Appreciate seeing you here. We're just kind of getting settled in, making sure everything is up and working, and getting some of the kinks worked out. Hopefully a little early, rather than taking 45 minutes to get set up. I think we're good as far as all of that is concerned, though. So like I mentioned, we're going to take a look at two different Docker containers today, and I think they were both in the self-host newsletter from Ethan Shelley, and some of them, or one of them, maybe both of them, showed up in Discord as well. But I thought the first one we would take a look at is called CheckCle. CheckCle is what it says right up here. And it says it is an open source monitoring platform offering real-time insights into server and service health, incident management, and operational transparency. So I guess kind of like an Uptime Kuma-esque kind of thing. I'm just using that one because it's the first one that popped into my brain. Also, just so we can all be on the same page here, and I feel like I have to start saying this more and more as I make these videos. When I'm demonstrating these apps, whether it's in a live stream or in a VOD, a video on demand tutorial style video, I'm almost never saying you should use this over whatever you're doing. I'm never going to tell you like, hey, what you're doing is wrong. You should use this instead because I said so. My goal with doing these live streams and these tutorials and that sort of thing is to show people what options are out there, not to convince you to use it, not to say you should use this over that for this reason. And unless there's an actual reason, excuse me, I had a little hair fall into my eye there. Unless there's an actual reason, like, you know, this new service has this feature over that feature or whatever. But my goal is to never say why you should use something over something else. My goal is only to show people who are interested that there are other options, or maybe you didn't know that kind of service was a thing. Maybe you didn't know that an uptime monitoring service was a thing. Maybe this is your first introduction into an uptime monitor type of service. There's lots of them out there, but my goal isn't to try to convince you to use this. It's just to show what options are out there. So, Yazan says, new subscriber here. Looking forward to the demo. Well, thank you for hanging out. I appreciate it. Haruna says, I think it's an I as in continuous integration. Yeah, man, I don't know. I also kind of agree about banning fonts that make the I and the L look the same. Dude, I actually agree with that to a certain extent. The sans serif fonts often look nice, but they can be super hard. Like this L and this I are both lowercase. Cool. But yeah, up here, I don't know if that's a CLI. Man, I guess I could do this. Actually, let me do this because I don't know. Yeah, because I don't know what this is actually going to show, and I don't want I don't want to accidentally. No, darn it, that's not what I wanted. Not a blank form. Why would you do that? Hold on, you deliberately can't see my screen right now. I don't care. I just wanted to make sure that I could do this. What I want to do is change this from Arial to like Times New Roman. Okay, it is CLE. Oops. Yeah, that is definitely an L, and that's what I wanted to see was it an I? Was it an L? So anyway, there we go. Now we know that it is CheckCle. But I agree. Sometimes those sans serif fonts can really be confusing. Alexia says, I initially read about the PortNote in the Linux Handbook newsletter, but it was also the same day you saw it in Ethan's newsletter. That's fair. Francisco Javier says something. I guess thank you for everything is how I'm reading that, but thank you. Did you fix your PC setup? Sort of temporarily for right now. What I've got currently set up is the AU Star Gem 12 mini piece that I did a video on almost a year ago or something. It's what's currently running this live stream. However, I did talk to Minis Forum. They're going to swap this out. The UM880 here that I had issues with, they're going to swap that out for me, and then possibly have me send that one back so they can dig into it and see what happened. Cyber Satyr says like CheckCle, hard to tell. I agree. Mike Menzer says, what are your thoughts on someone creating a YouTube channel and taking all smart home ecosystems and compare similar products and show features, or what features work and what you get? I think it's a great idea. I think there's a lot of people doing that kind of already. In fact, I was just watching one earlier. Hibbert, I think Paul Hibbert, home Paul Hibbert, I think is who it is. Paul Hibbert, hold on. Yeah. that's kind of what this dude does. Is he talks a lot about smart devices, home automations, smart devices that can be built into home automations, that sort of thing. So he kind of does that. I know that there are others that do that. I think it's a great idea. I would love to do that, but the problem with the tech field is that it's being so saturated by so many good creators and so many spammy AI generative nonsense videos that it's super hard to compete with some of that. I'm able to upgrade to the new MSAO. Right, I wish. Hibbert. Oh yeah, I actually just watched Hibbert's video on the Alexa Plus this morning. The thumbnails on that channel make it a nope for me. No, I get it. Here's the thing. Like, obviously they work. You know, like he's getting a decent amount of views on all of his videos, so obviously they work. But I also understand where you're coming from on that, Aruna. So let's see. Let's go back to dummy here. There we go. Soldiers 3000 says smart home solver on YouTube also. Yeah, I'm not familiar with him. Smart home solver. I don't think so. I guess he kind of looks familiar. His face looks familiar. If you're not familiar, there you go. But yeah, he kind of looks familiar as well. But yeah, and his thumbnails are much more dialed back, which I super appreciate. Again, Paul Hibbert puts a lot of effort into his nonsense on purpose because that's his shtick. But yeah, Smart Home Solver also puts out some good stuff. Let's see. Rasby says good morning. Well, thank you for joining. I appreciate you being here. What I don't see is them putting the products against each other and showing which features are the best. If you take the Harmony remotes, everybody's looking for. Yeah, well, I mean, Harmony pulled all of their awesome remotes. I used to have one of them. I don't remember which one, but yeah, no, it's. And I think the reason it's hard, like, and I appreciate you expanding on that, Mike. I think the problem with that idea is that what's best is a relative idea for everybody. You know, the best car for me isn't an F-350, but it is for somebody else, right? The best thing for you may not be the best thing for me, and vice versa. So then you've got to start qualifying. Okay, man, I might need to move some stuff around here. Hold on one second, guys. I'm gonna bring this down to something like right there. So then you have to start qualifying, like, what's the best voice assistant for this specific scenario, right? You can't just say what's the best voice assistant, because if you're in the Google ecosphere, the Apple HomePod or whatever it's called probably isn't going to be the best for you. And if you're vice versa, if you're in the Apple ecosphere, you know, the Home Assistant voice PE probably isn't going to be the best solution. So best is always a relative term, and I think that's why there are channels that will say, you know, here's the best Apple home configuration, you know, for assistants and speakers and tablets, and they can build an ecosystem that's the best for that configuration. So yeah, the best voice assistant is the thing that works for you. I agree with that. JD is here. Thanks for joining. Appreciate you being here. Oh man. All right. Well, so yeah, like I think it's a good idea, but then you have to start qualifying things so much that it's I don't know. But anyway, let's jump back over to my desktop here. So again, this is CheckCle. Maybe there's I don't know. Anyway, we'll come back to that. The name of it doesn't really matter for what we're doing here, and I keep focusing on that. So if we look here, we can kind of see. Let me zoom in a little bit. Maybe there we go. So here we can see. There's their URL. Then uptime monitoring, instance monitoring, SSL and domain, schedule and incident. It's and, not an, like this and that. Anyway, operational page, reports, API documentation. Those are your primary functions. And then below that, we've got settings, user management, notification settings, alert templates, data retention, and about the system. So here's the thing. This looks a lot like Pi-hole, like kind of the same aesthetic. It very much looks like they used the same. Yeah, there you go. Thomas and I actually were saying that about the same time. It very much looks like Pi-hole, which I don't have an opinion on either way. I use AdGuard Home just because I like that interface better. But this works, and I think it's great. The best home speaker is like asking if you like Coke or Pepsi. Yep, you have to pick what works for you. I have a Home Assistant PE, but that's the ecosystem I've been in. Yeah, exactly. Sven, thanks for joining. Appreciate you being here. But yeah, so basically this is what the interface looks like. Now, there's a lot of good stuff in here as far as uptime monitoring and instance monitoring, SSL and domain monitoring, that sort of thing. And in fact, if we come over to here, this is an instance that I have up and running. Here we can see, I've got 3 services that are being monitored. None of them are down, none of them are paused, none of them have warnings. And we can see what those look like. We can see the response times based on where this app is hosted versus where the other things are hosted, and their round trip and all of that kind of stuff. We can see when it was last checked. And if I come over here to click on instance monitoring, nothing happens. SSL monitoring or SSL and domain, I can do that. I kind of wish it did this manually based on what you've already got in your uptime, or maybe it would have that option to do that, but it doesn't. Here we can see monitor SSL certificates and their expiration dates. I'm not sure why they're calling this SSL and domain management when really we're monitoring SSLs. But again, this is still early development. We can see the domains that I've got in here, who the issuer is of the SSL, the expiration date, how many days are left, the status, last notified, and then there are some actions here to view, check, edit, or delete. And then we can get more information about that here. This all looks really good. But again, there are just certain bits of information in here like instance monitoring, schedule and incident, operations, reports, and API documentation. They don't work yet. This is still functionality that's being built, and I wanted to be kind of upfront about that. I might check domain expiry as a feature later. Yeah, so if we come back over to their GitHub repository, it says it's a self-hosted open source alternative to Uptime Robot, PagerDuty, Better Stack, and more, offering real-time server and service uptime monitoring, incident, and multi-channel alerting. Now, if we scroll down kind of more of the same stuff we just talked about there. Transmachine is here. Howdy, how's it going? Glad to have you here. So core features: monitor HTTP, DNS, and ping protocols, monitor TCP-based API services, FTP, SMTP, HTTP, that sort of thing. Track detailed uptime, response times, and performance issues. Incident history for up, down, warning, and pause. SSL monitoring, domain monitoring, infrastructure monitoring, scheduled maintenance. So it's kind of, we're just reiterating what we've already talked about there. But here's the Docker Compose. It's really just that simple. Excuse me. And we'll come back and we'll take a look at this. It's super simple to set up. The one thing you got to remember is that there is a default user in here, and the credentials are right here in step 3, just so you know. There's a quick start guide coming that isn't there yet. And again, more here. We'll come back. Anyway, here we can see they've got a development roadmap. We can see the health check and uptime monitoring is checked off. We've got dashboard UI with live stats checked off. Auth with multi-user, so you can have multiple people in here, which is great, and that's already built in. We've got Docker containerization, their website, their demo server, and SSL and domain monitoring that have all been added. But for uptime monitoring, infrastructure monitoring, service maintenance and incident management is still, they're still working on that, operation status and public status pages. There's still some stuff down here that they are working on. So this is still very much an early release. This isn't necessarily something that you should probably put into practice yet, but I always like having the option for options. I don't necessarily want to have to use one thing or the other. Sometimes it's nice to have options. Currently 301 stars. If you guys want to keep tabs on this project, you can give it a star. I'm not signed in, or I would. But yeah, definitely keep an eye on this one. I think it'll be cool if they keep building it out. The one thing that I did notice, and maybe you did as well, like when we come over to the About section over here on the right-hand side, typically down here somewhere, there would be a contributor section. And I'm not seeing that here, which I think is interesting. And if we go over... oh, thank you, Sven. That was really nice. I appreciate you doing that. But if we come over to like their main page, they've got 5 followers. They've got their website, their Twitter, couple of repositories, practices, people, and there's no public members. So I don't know. It's strange to me that they're not showing who the dev team is. Like somebody has to have built this. Like, who are the contributors? It's just weird to me that they're not showing that. Like if I come over to here, yeah, Crockefield is the developer on this. Like we can see who that is. So it's just one of those things I noticed, that there are no contributors who are willing to admit that they're working on the project. Man, I apologize, guys. This throat, man. Yep, Bratwurst says it reads very similar to Uptime Kuma. I agree. It's kind of like Uptime Kuma and Pi-hole worked together to create this. Anyway, so let's go back to our homepage here. We'll take a look at deploying it here in a minute. There's some weird things here, in my opinion, and maybe it's done deliberately. Like if I come over here, like my cursor has changed, right? It's man, I apologize. So over here, pointy arrow, right? Here, pointy finger. This means I should be able to click this, and I can't. Can't click any of this at this point, which I think is weird. I wonder. Nope. There's not an A tag or anything in there. So they've got a hover state declaring use pointy finger here, which I think is interesting. Anyway, if you want to get more information about these different services that are being monitored, you can click on View Detail, pause, edit, or mute. Here we can see what that looks like for the response time, the uptime, and when it's checking. We can see a response time history. I actually really like these charts. There's something about them. I've always really enjoyed looking at charts that look like this. And then incident history. This all looks good, but it's because I just added it not that long ago, so it shouldn't look bad yet. Again, instance monitoring isn't there yet. SSL and domain monitoring. View, again, we kind of looked at that. We can see when it was created, when it was updated, and when it should expire. And I think that's pretty much all in there. You can check. You can manually check if you need to go that route. You can absolutely do that. no incident response or no schedule and incident, no operations, no alerts, no APIs. So right now it's uptime and SSLs that work on this. There's a light mode and a dark mode. I know people have been asking me to do light mode more, and I will eventually not hate it as much, I hope. Over here under the settings panel, there's more. Yeah, that just kind of closed it. That's weird. User management, you can add users very easily, it looks like, and you can select their role. But it kind of looks like you have to manually type a role. Oops. So I don't know what purpose that serves yet. Maybe that's just placeholder. Notification settings. I think the only current notification setting that works is Telegram. Because like when we come over to like Discord and go to Discord, it might work, but I don't have any way of noticing that. Slack, URL, Signal, email. There's not enough information for some of these to work. And again, if we take a look at like this CheckCle GitHub page, oops, guess I could have just done this. If we scroll down to here, where did it go? Notifications, it's still not fully checked off for email, Slack, Discord, and Signal. So those may or may not work at this point. But just know that they are there or will be eventually. Alert templates, you can kind of take a look and see what that'll look like. Up message, down message, placeholders. You can put that stuff in there. You can change the service type and the template name, but like maintenance, you can anyway, you can see that you can create your own custom things here. Data retention, still not a thing there, but about the system, it is right there, released on January 15th. So, let's scroll back up. I wonder if certificate monitoring will become more or less important with the move towards 30-day validity in 2029. I feel like, man, I don't know. I kind of see where the confusion is on that. Because if it's going to have to renew every 30 days, man, I don't know. It's hard to say. Marcelo says that I might also like core control. Oops. Dashboard to manage your entire infrastructure. Interesting. Yeah, that might be something worth taking a look at. That's kind of neat. Thank you for sharing that. Sven says, I wonder why people ask for light mode. Apparently on smaller devices in these videos, light mode is easier to read, which kind of makes sense. So just kind of one of those, I think it's for people who, the people who comment on my videos the most are ones who say like I've got bad eyesight, so the dark mode makes the light text hard to read. But if it's a white background or a light background, dark text is easier to read. So I think that's pretty much all that's going on with that. But again, it's hard for me to know what other people are seeing. So anyway. What did Docker stats say about RAM usage? That's for RAM usage, 33 megs. Yeah, like 33 megs. It looks like is what this CheckCle or whatever is. This is Check is using 33 megs, give or take. So anyway, again, this isn't one of those things that I think you should implement, but I think it's something that should be the people should be aware of. Like it's definitely got some stuff coming up. Hopefully, again, I'm curious about why they're not saying who they are, as far as who the developers are. But yeah, super simple to deploy. using the Docker Compose that's right here. Again, yeah. So like I went over to Portainer. I went to stacks. I created a new stack. I didn't change anything here. I literally just didn't change anything. I just left it all the same, and click deploy. And then again, like I said, I used, no, not that one. Wait, hold on. Wait, Core Control is also the same developer as PortNote. Interesting. I don't know how I didn't see that. Yeah, they're right there next to each other. That's interesting. Cool. Well, we'll come back to that. We will come back to that. Man, where did it go? Oh, right. So yeah, I didn't change anything here. If you needed to change anything here, you would just change that port. That's really about all there is to change here, as far as I can tell. Of course, this may also change depending on what other functionality is built into the service later on. But for right now, it's got a very, very basic Docker Compose, which I super appreciate. And it spins up, and it does more or less what it says it does in the development roadmap at this time. So, Aruna says, I hope Let's Encrypt increases rate limits when cert validity gets lower. Yeah. Yeah, I'll be curious about that as well. So anyway, that's CheckCle as it currently stands. Again, I don't think you should implement it yet, but I wanted people to be aware of it just because it may be a new option soon to have another alternative. Jamie Jones Jr. says, how does the API doc look in it? It doesn't. Like if we come back over here to desktop, there we go. Yeah, there's nothing here. This one doesn't click yet. In fact, I think even if you go to, I think they've got a demo up here somewhere. Admin at example.com. Oops. And then over here, yeah, it doesn't do anything here. So, right, yeah, like I said, this is still very, very early development. But again, I wanted to make it known that it's there, that it's being worked on. And if you can support them and you want to, man, have at. They've got a Discord, it looks like. They've got some docs that aren't quite ready yet. So there it is. That is that's CheckCle in a nutshell for right now, I think. Do they have maybe this is their root Operacle ERP. Interesting. So Operacle is kind of a corporate thing, it looks like, maybe. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier as far as the pie hole look. Very, very similar aesthetic. Operacle, open source, 3+ major projects, 150 contributors, Linux at the core. Interesting. This is join the community. This doesn't go anywhere. Interesting. Yeah, interesting. Good catch, Bratwurst. Oracle ERP, top ERP solution in Cambodia and Asia. Huh. Well, I I don't know that I've ever actually used any Cambodian software that I was aware of. So I can't really say anything about that. All right, core team, Michael Rodriguez, Tola Lang, Priya Kumar, David Johnson. Huh. Interesting. Well, anyway, that is CheckCle, at least for right now. And then I guess let's just kind of keep plugging away here and take a look. Oops, what's going on over here? Anyway, PortNote is the other one that popped up on my radar recently, and right here that, yep, keep track of used ports. It does that. It is not wrong. Says stop juggling spreadsheets and guessing which servers use which ports. PortNote gives you a clear, organized view of your entire port landscape. Add your servers and VMs via a sleek web interface. Assign and document port usage across all systems, and avoid conflicts before they happen. Built by the developer of Core Control, PortNote brings structure, clarity, and control to one of the most overlooked parts of your infrastructure. And that's definitely, I think, true. I never remember what port most of my stuff is on. And here we can kind of get some screenshots that are honestly a bit hard to read. So let's just take a look at my instance here. Maybe we can make this a little bigger. Scroll in a little bit. So this is deployed. This is on my little demo server down here. And I've got a couple of instances here. Now, you can sort of alphabetically or by IP address, which in a kind of a happenstance way is the same for me. But if we can search for things in here. Let's look for like 9. Okay, that's not helpful. Interesting. I wonder. Jeez, excuse me, man. I'm not entirely sure what the search is for. Let's see. Let's look up 21. Okay. So I guess it will eliminate things that don't have that port assigned to them. That's kind of all you can look for with this based on what I can see here. Look, if I just type in Jarvis, okay. I guess you can do it that way. So Jamie Jones Jr. asks, do you have to manually add things or does it generate it dynamically? Yes, both actually. And I say that with a caveat. Right, let's remove Jarvis just because, like here we can see a bunch of ports that are listed. These are ports that it was able to find, right? Is this like a manual lookup reverse proxy? Not really, no. So we're just going to delete that, right? That was Jarvis. That's one of my Synologies that I've got a bunch of Docker stuff running on. So I'm going to call this Jarvis demo. And I'll put this in here. Now it's saying, is this a VM? If so, which host is it on? It's not a VM, so it's fine. And over here, you can, I guess, manually add a port to a server. But again, we're just going to start with this. We're just going to add this IP address of that single device. I'll click Add. If I open this up, there's nothing there. Now, from here, I can come up here and I can say I've got this port on this server, and I can say like 9443 is Portainer, right? And I can add that. Port is already in use. Interesting. Well, then let's refresh. I don't know why it's saying that. So what we're going to do is click search. So again, this is, I've done very, very little research on either of these. I've deployed them. I've looked at them just to make sure that they would deploy. And actually, we're going to talk about the deployment of PortNote here in just a little bit as well. Just because the Docker Compose that's in here isn't as effective as it could be for PortNote. We'll take a look at that in a minute. But we'll give this up to 30 seconds for it to scan. Click refresh. And there it found a bunch of different ports. And I will say that this time it detected both 5000 and 5001. The last time I ran this, kids coming through. Okay, hey, will you close that for me, please? Thank you. Close that. Thank you. That's great. Now you can go. Door's locked. Off you go. Thank you. So anyway, the last time I ran this, it only found 5,001. It didn't find 5,000. Right. So, and the other thing that you could do is like you come in here and you could say, oh, this is FTP, right? No, that's SSH. What am I thinking? That is SSH, not FTP. And I can click save. And I can click here and I can say this is FTP. And I can click save. And I can say this one is SSL. I can click save, right? And I can say this is for, this is HTTP dashboard. And then I can go to 5001 and I can say this is HTTPS dashboard, right? So you can keep notes on them like that. But it's not going to manually write all of that in. You may have to, like, again, I was expecting to have to add 5,000 to this. Just because the last time I ran this, it only found 5,001. So like I could say like this one, I know this one is Portainer, right? This is also Portainer. Like so, and I can click save. And then you can kind of keep track on, any of the devices or any of this hardware or any of the VMs or whatever that you've got running. You can just come in and click add, put in the IP address of that VM or whatever, and it should be able to scan them. So that's the general idea of PortNote. It's very basic. It's kind of, again, it's one of those apps that does one thing, or it only does one thing, but it actually does it pretty well, which I appreciate. I always appreciate a good app that if it only does one thing, that it has to do it really, really well, versus trying to be a catch-all app that does like a dozen things kind of well. So that's kind of the demo, man. It's really just that easy. We're going to come back to that. So if we take a look at the Docker Compose that is not there, it is right here. So here's what I'm going to do, just so we can kind of see what's going to happen here. I'm going to go to procs. Oh, crap. Man, I don't remember. It's 215. 8006. I think that's the one. Yay, I'm glad I remembered that. Able to auto-apply IPs and ports from active Docker containers. All right. Yeah. Are you coming through?
Coming through. And key delivery.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. That'll be helpful. Put that over there.
Excuse me, pardon me.
Yeah. Let's see. All right, so we're gonna come up to here. What we're gonna do, I'm just gonna spin up a new thing here. I'm gonna call this PortNote. PortNote. I'm gonna call it PortNote Live just in case, just like so. And then I'm gonna find that. There we go. So we're gonna let this spin up. This shouldn't take too long to do what it needs to do. And then we're going to deploy it with the Docker Compose that is on their GitHub, if I could remember where I was. Right here. We're going to use this initially so that we can see what happens. So here's PortNote Live. We'll start this. We'll get logged in. I know I typed that password wrong. I hate that feeling. All right, so I'm going to 171, right? That's the IP address we've got right there. I'm going to do 9443, and then all right, so I'm also going to grab this. I'm going to come into here. Go to registry, or sorry, environment. I'm going to paste that in there like so. And then we'll go to stacks. Do this. We'll call this PortNote. And then again, we're going to use the Docker Compose that's right here because I want you to see it fail. And I'm not trying to be kind of a jerk or whatever, but there's definitely some stuff wrong with this. with the way it's currently set up. So we're just going to let this deploy. This will take a moment to do what it needs to do. I don't know if at this point, if it will actually like actively, like of its own volition, do any scans. I didn't see any settings for that in here. I think, and it doesn't really bring here. I think you've either got to like click the scan button on each thing that you add, or manually add it, because I don't see any way for it to be automated in this. Oops, all right, it's all right. Still thinking over here. Let's see. Prober says this optical rabbit hole I'm going down currently keeps getting really weird from 2016 to 2019. It was some weird Danish website about opera. In 2024, it reappeared as an optical bank French. The current website was never archived on the internet, so it was a few months old max. Yet on the website's about page, they say they've been in existence since 2018. Huh. So if we come into here, like here we can see immediately it's like the database is running, but the agent and the web are not. And if we come in here and we look, it says unable to connect to the database, failed to connect to the host for the database, dial error, connection refused, right? Probably going to be the same thing over here. Prisma schema loaded from here. Database was unavailable. Now at this point, if I come in here to these two and click start, it's fine now. Right now it's fine. However, we can fix that ahead of time, which we probably should. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete all of these, right? Remove all of that here. And then we'll talk about what happened, because both the agent and the web app were like, hey, the database isn't running. Reload. There we go. All right. So because the web just says that the database service has to be started, not healthy, it just says that the database has to be started before the web app will do anything. Same thing with the agent. The condition is that the database has to be started, not running and healthy. And we can fix that. So the way we can fix that is by coming over to right here. And this is the Docker Compose that I put together to fix those issues. So what I did was like the JWT secret and the user secret, whatever. I don't care if you see those. Username and password, again, I don't care if you see those. What we need to change here is that depends on database of the condition being service healthy. Yeah, probably should also add a restart policy. But adding the condition of service healthy is the crucial thing here, because before it just said service started. Same thing here on the agent. And then what you can do is come down here to the database and add a health check like this. And adding the condition service healthy on both of those services, and this health check fixes all of that. So we're going to click copy. And I'm going to do this manually because that's just how I am. Cool. So, oh, right. Let's go to volumes. Let's just make sure that we don't have this Postgres data thing in here. That's gone. Remove networks, PortNote. We're going to remove that. We're just gonna kind of prune some stuff. No, those are images. Images are fine. I'm not worried about images. Containers, just Portainer running. So what I'm going to do is edit this, and I'm going to put this back in there, again with the service healthy dependency there on the app, the agent, and then adding the health check to the database. We'll click update the stack, and we'll give this a second. Sorry, Sven says it would be nice if they added some pilot scanning functions, and they might be working on that. Going back to the other app we were looking at a moment ago, they may add that at some point. Again, I think this is still very early development, or maybe they've just done what they wanted to do. I don't know, but that might be worth hitting up their GitHub repository to find out. And here, if we take a look at all of these, I'll just refresh this page so you can see. Now everything is running, everything is healthy, everything is good to go. So again, we can put in like so, and then we can we can add Jarvis 118, right? Click add. The other thing you can do if you need to is you can just click right there and it'll pick a random port number for you. That's another feature or whatever. If I open this up and click scan, again, we'll give this a minute to do what it's going to do. But that's, let's give this a second. But that's basically it, right? The app works, but with the way they've currently got the Docker Compose, because of the order in which things are happening and the dependencies, it's probably going to fail unless you manually restart the other two containers. So I just added, I changed the dependencies and that sort of thing, and it seems to work fine now. Yeah, here we go. So again, this scanned Jarvis, and it found 5001, but it didn't find 5000. Like, let's zoom in here. Right, here's 5001, here's 4045. There's nothing around that shows me that 5000 is an option. So sometimes it's going to miss things. I don't know why. I don't have enough detail on that. Excuse me. Oh, geez, man, allergies killing me. But that's it. I think that's kind of the gist of it. Again, if you're on YouTube, the links for the GitHub repositories for both of these. Oops. Yeah, hold on. I'll go ahead and post these in both. And this says, how would CheckCle compare to Uptime Kuma? It doesn't yet. It's not there yet. I'm just going to paste this over here a few times, just so you've got that one, and then this one as well. Oops. Again, I'm not trying to ever convince somebody that, hey, you should use this over that, or whatever. I just want people to be aware that there are options out there that you can take a look at. These are both still early development applications, it looks like. And I know the developers are still working on them based on the times that I'm seeing over on their GitHub repositories, like PortNote. Oops, we'll just take a look at here. 3 days ago, 4 days ago, 5 days ago, last week, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, whatever. And then this CheckCle, again, 4 hours ago. So they're actively working on this stuff. Jan, thank you very much for that donation. That's really nice. I appreciate you for that. But again, these are still early access. I don't know why I said early access. These are still early development, it looks like. And I just wanted to show you that they're out there. If you want to take a look at them, if you want to go star them, so that you can kind of keep following the progress of these apps, you can absolutely do that. Again, I don't want to try to tell you that these are ready for production, because I don't think either one of them really are ready for production. I very much like to look at early access stuff. Bratwurst says, at this point, I bet money on Operacle being some sort of fake company. Operacle. Actually, let's do this. Let's take a look at who is. Man. Oops.com. Yeah, I know it's not available. That's what I wanted to see, man. Starred both. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know how far they'll go. The developers don't know I'm talking about these. So this operacle.com was registered in March 24th, it looks like. And then updated a few hours later. And of course, for privacy reasons, it doesn't say. I thought I put that in there. Of course, you can't see that. Search. Interesting. This one says it can't find it. That's not helpful. But like I can right here. They're using Cloudflare. Yeah, again, purchased again in March, updated a few hours later, only registered for a year, which is kind of interesting. I know it's unavailable. I want to see more information about it. GoDaddy might tell us. And look, here's the thing, right? They may have just picked an unfortunate name that somebody else has used in the past. I don't have any way to verify that, but yeah, this is all saying the same thing. All registered in March, with all of their information redacted for privacy. TLD registrar solutions. Yeah, not a lot of information about that. And again, they're pointed to Cloudflare, so there's no way to really find out where those domains are being hosted. So it kind of is what it is. Again, I'm not saying you should use them. I just wanted to show you guys that they're out there. They're available to take a look at and follow, and dig through the code if you want to. Yeah, Marcelo says, notice that the developer of PortNote is the same as Core Control. Yep. I kind of noticed that as well earlier, because I was on this page and I was like, wait, they're right next to each other. So yeah, I think Core Control might be another one we'll take a look at. Probably not today. But looks kind of interesting. Looks kind of interesting. Oh, hey, there's that. Oh yeah, see here he's got it on Core Control. Condition, service healthy. He doesn't have it up here, but he's also got the health check down here. So he's aware that this is probably the better way to handle that. You know what? Screw it. Let's just deploy it while we're here, right? Like, stacks. Okay, what's this? It's 45. Cool. Let's just take a quick look. See what happens. Do you also want to add this? And then don't care. Cool. Let's see what happens. Let's deploy Core Control while we're at it. All right, so on Core Control, the roadmap, edit applications, application sidebar, uptime history, notifications, those are all checked off. Simple server monitoring, checked off. Some other stuff in there that they're still working on. Let's close some things out here, because I'm starting to get a little confused, a little overwhelmed, and that's not helpful for anybody. So zoom back out and take a look and see, kind of see what we get here. Oh, it didn't like that. I bet it's because I'm already using a port. Probably port 3000. I bet I'm already using that. I am. He likes port 3000. Cool. We'll change it to like 3030. Hey, if I'd used his other app, I would have known that. So let's give this a second. There it goes. All right, Core Control. And it exited. No env vars found. Notification does not exist. Let's click Start. Yeah, it seems to be fine now. weird. It was admin at example.com. And then what was the other thing? And just admin. All right. Cool. So let's see. We've got servers. We've got applications. We can view or we can manage servers. We can view applications. You must first add a server. Well, then I guess let's do that. Server. Let's do prox demo. Let's see what this says. Linux 2.168.0.215. Let's see. Management URL. I mean, is kind of it's HTTPS, and that is going to be darn it, 8006 hardware. It's an N100 iGPU, 16 GB DDR4, I think, with 1 TB SSD. Host. Mark as a host server, monitoring, enable monitoring. And then we would have to do this for the agent. Okay. Well, that's kind of cool. Man, I don't really want to do that. But it gives us an idea. Damn, if I just click add, what does that do? Physical servers. Servers. Yeah, without without that agent, it's not really going to tell me anything here, right? Applications. Let's add an application, I guess. Portainer. Prox demo. Great. Oh, well, that was cool. Just do that, I guess. I didn't get all of it, but we'll fix that. Do this. 3. Right, and then custom uptype and check URL. We'll just click. Portainer. Guess we'll do that. And then what do we have? Says that it's online. Uptime, Portainer. I mean, yep, it's there. Interesting. My infrastructure, prox demo, Portainer. Huh. Oh, damn, Collins, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Bratwurst says, I love how people mount the Docker socket with a read-only tag. I didn't even notice. Did we do that here? I didn't. Or was that over? Was that over here? Edit. Monitoring. Enable monitoring. Oh, right. I mean, I guess it adds a bit of your brain thinking it's better. That's where Proxmox Sandbox would be helpful. Yeah, that's technically what I'm on this Prox demo. It's an N100 or an N100 mini PC that I've had up for, man, I don't even know. I think it actually says somewhere. Man, where is it? Network traffic, CPU usage. I know it's on this page somewhere. Oh, here it is. This has been up for 102 days, right there. Yeah. With his little N100 processor and and 16 gigs of RAM. But this is my little demo server that I do everything on. So that's fun. Core control. What else? What else we have in here? Uptime. Just says online. Doesn't really give us much there. Applications. Right. Maybe an idea for another stream, how to set up a socket proxy to have real read-only I mean, it's not a terrible idea. Honestly, I'd have to look into it. I've never actually done that, so I would definitely have to dig into that. This follows, by default, it follows system, but you can do light or dark manually, or you can just have it check or follow your system. Notification channels, notification type. We've got SMTP, Telegram, Discord, Gotify, Notify, Pushover, and Echo Bell. That's cool. I super appreciate that. Yeah, and then put in your URL, your token, you're good to go. That's cool. That's pretty cool. Might have to actually spin this up and maybe I have to do something with that. I didn't see AppRise in there, no. No. Might be worth a feature request over on their GitHub though. That might be something to have them take a look at possibly. Oops, weird. Dashboard. Yeah. So I guess that's it. That's kind of where all of that is, and of course you can add more servers, you can add more applications, all that kind of thing. This is interesting. I don't really know what the point is, but maybe that's because I've only got 3 things in there. So there we go. That's kind of everything I wanted to take a look at today, I think. Like I said earlier in the stream, I'm still getting adjusted to new meds. So this has been kind of an interesting little trial run for me. I think it's been all right. I feel like I've been more kind of on point. I feel like I've been less rambly. I feel like I've been kind of more focused, I guess. Maybe I'm wrong. Been a little less spazzy anyway. And so that's kind of what I'm shooting for with the new meds and the new therapies and that sort of thing, is to not be quite so excitable in my content. It's just because I know that there's a bunch of you here that appreciate my ramblings and my stuff like that. There's a lot of people who I'm not able to cater to as a result of being so fast talking, so scatterbrained, those sorts of things. So I'm actively working on trying to get some of that under control, so that I can hopefully attract a newer audience, an audience that I have unintentionally kind of pushed aside, not because I wanted to, not because I felt it necessary, but because I talk fast and I'm scatterbrained. And I kind of feel a little bit better so far about a couple of the changes I've made with the new therapies and the things that we're using to chemically balance me a little better. It's only been about a week for one and about 4 days for the other. So we're still kind of getting settled in. So I have to give it some more time, see what happens. Like I said, I've got some more content coming soon. I'm currently working on 2 separate videos, and getting the developers involved in that video production process. And actually having them make appearances in the videos, introducing themselves, introducing their apps, talking about different aspects of their apps, that sort of thing. Because again, I think it's easy for people who are using an application to be like, well, why doesn't it do X, Y, or Z? Because there's often like 1 or 2 or 3 people working on this application, and maybe they haven't had a chance to look at it from that perspective. And I'm just trying to hopefully add the human element back into the self-hosting apps that we're taking a look at. I really want those developers to get the recognition they deserve, but also some of the patience that they haven't been receiving. I think that's going to be important, to try to include the developers a bit more, so that people can be like, oh yeah, that's a real person working on this. You know, they've got a life, they've got a job, this is their hobby, this is their passion. Maybe they're not getting paid as much as they should for this, and hopefully we can reestablish that there's actual people with lives, with jobs, with their own troubles and their own things, who are making these apps that we love. Because I think people forget about that, and they don't give people the grace that's deserved. So that's my soapbox for the moment anyway. Yeah, I'm real excited about some of the new content. I've got some other stuff that I really need to get done that I've been slacking on and I feel bad about. But I think now that my brain is slowing down a little bit, it'll be easier for me to tackle some of those projects that have been giving me a lot of anxiety. So thank you guys for hanging out and being patient with me while I'm actively working through some of this. It's been years that I've been fighting with some of this, and it's nice to actually start feeling better about what's going on. So I think that's it, guys. I think that's as far as I want to push myself today with the new chemicals doing their things. We took a look at 3 different projects. One was unexpected, but we may take another look at that one in more depth later on if I have a chance to kind of build it out. But again, links to everything are in chat or in the video description if you're over on YouTube. If you're not already a Discord member, you should be. I need to put Discord links in here real quick. I can grab it this way, like this, copy the link address. There's Discord. If you guys want to jump into Discord and hang out and chat, that would be awesome. If you're an application developer, we recently added a dev chat channel so that if there's if I've got questions about your app, it might be just a quick, easy way for us to discuss these things. Or if I'm working on a video about your app, or you just want to share privately your app with me and the other mods, you can join our Discord and then hit up either me. You can like in chat. You can just tag me, Jay Collins or Nighthawk ATL. Send over some information to let us know that you're actually an app developer, and then we can get you added to the dev chat channel, and we can chat about your app and maybe see about featuring it in an upcoming video if you're interested in that kind of thing. So I think that's where I want to wrap this up. I don't want to kind of overstay my welcome and kind of screw this up, because I feel like I'm going on the right path. So I guess with that said, I'm gonna go. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Again, hopefully new content coming like early next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe Thursday, depending on how things go. Hopefully you'll check that video out when it drops. I think that's a dumb word, but it is what it is. So anyway, go enjoy your weekend. Thank you guys again for hanging out with me for a little while, and I'll talk to you again here real soon.